Welcome to the Founder's Code. Today, we're diving deep into the untold stories behind success. We all know how to make money on Amazon. Buy low, sell high. But what about Amazon itself? How does the company make money when it's competing against so many other online retailers? Most people don't realize this, but Amazon is actually a conglomerate. They've expanded way beyond retail into things like cloud computing, advertising, subscription services, hardware, and much more. And yet somehow they still manage to lose money every year in their retail business. So let's take a look behind the scenes and figure out exactly how Amazon makes money. Taking a look back, Amazon started off as an online bookstore back in 1994. Jeff Bezos wanted to create an online shop that was extremely easy to use and had a massive selection of books. The original website was very simple and didn't even allow customers to create accounts or save passwords. But that didn't matter because there was literally no competition. So Amazon quickly grew from there. They just kept adding new products until they became an online everything store. But becoming an everything store wasn't actually the key to their success. That would come soon enough. But first, Amazon had to figure out how to make money. At first, it seemed like the most obvious approach was just to sell the products directly themselves. That way they could set the prices and keep all of the margins. But this required a ton of upfront capital for inventory. And not only that, but Amazon was extremely ambitious with their goals. They wanted to offer millions of products, not just a few select items. So instead of building up the capital to support this growth, Amazon decided to adopt a different model. Instead of selling products themselves, they would simply become a platform where third-party merchants could sell their products. This required significantly less capital and allowed Amazon to scale much faster. In exchange, Amazon charges merchants fees depending on which services they use. If a merchant wants to list an item, they have to pay a fee. On top of that, they also have to pay a referral fee every time someone purchases their product. As you can see, this system works quite well for both parties. Amazon gets a steady stream of revenue without having to hold any inventory. And third-party sellers get access to an audience of hundreds of millions of customers. In fact, third-party sellers make up over 60% of all units sold on Amazon. This is the main reason why Amazon's retail business still loses money. Basically, Amazon acts like a toll road. Everyone has to pay them a small fee to use their road. But some people are willing to pay a lot more than others. For example, if you try searching for wireless headphones on Amazon, Beats will be one of the top results. Even though Apple owns Beats, Amazon still displays them as a separate brand. And if you actually buy Beats headphones through Amazon, Amazon gets a bigger cut than usual. This is because Apple pays Amazon to promote their products directly on their behalf. If you go onto Amazon's website and type in Beats, you'll notice that there's a little ad tag next to the search bar. This means that this is a sponsored result. The reason why brands like Apple and Samsung do this is because it puts their products in front of a massive audience. On top of that, they can control exactly who sees their ads based on demographics and past purchases. For example, if someone's been looking at laptops and you release a new laptop stand, you can target those users specifically with your ads. In 2020, brands spent $21 billion on ads on Amazon. And guess what? All of these ads go directly to Amazon's bottom line. So yes, it might seem like Amazon is a retailer, but really they're just a marketing agency. In fact, marketing makes up 30% of all of Amazon's net income. So far, we've covered two of Amazon's main sources of income. The third one is by far their most profitable segment, though, Amazon Web Services, or AWS. Most people have no idea that Amazon Web Services is a thing, but it's one of the best businesses out there. Basically, Amazon Web Services provides back-end cloud computing services for tons of other companies. Many of the websites you visit every day, such as Netflix, use AWS to run their servers and databases. This gives smaller companies the ability to compete with giants like Amazon. Otherwise, it would cost millions to build and maintain a server infrastructure. For example, if someone wants to start a social media website, they can sign up for AWS and run their servers for just a few dollars per month. With that being said, Amazon Web Services has become the real backbone of the internet and one of the most important businesses in the world. But while AWS is extremely popular, it's not always the cheapest option. In fact, most users actually prefer Google Cloud Platform. This is because Google offers better services at a cheaper price. But despite that, AWS is still growing at 30% per year and accounts for almost half of Amazon's profits. So why is everyone signing up for AWS despite it being more expensive? Well, for starters, AWS has the biggest market share, which means they have the most experience and the most reliable systems. On top of that, AWS has become a monopoly. Once a company signs up for AWS, they lock them into contracts spanning multiple years. With that being said, AWS has become a cash cow that's funding many of Amazon's other endeavors. One of the most famous of these endeavors is Amazon Prime. Now, when you think about it, subscriptions aren't really all that profitable. I mean, Netflix only makes around 40% profit margins on their subscription revenue. This is because most of it goes towards paying for licenses and streaming infrastructure. But Amazon is doing something similar here. If you take a look at their income statement, you'll notice that Amazon lists all of their subscription revenue under a category called Amazon Web Services Other. This category includes all of the miscellaneous revenue that comes from AWS. It's mostly ad revenue and placement fees, but it also includes revenue from Amazon Prime. You're probably wondering why Amazon lumps Prime revenue in with their AWS revenue. Well, it's because many of the services used in AWS were developed specifically for Amazon Prime. For example, Amazon Prime heavily relies on things like databases and storage solutions that AWS provides. And guess what? AWS charges Amazon Prime for these services just like they charge other companies. So the revenue ends up going right back to AWS. This is the reason why Amazon Prime costs so much. It's not some magical number that they came up with. It's literally the cost of providing all of the Prime services plus a bit of extra profit. What's crazy is that it's working incredibly well. Last quarter, Amazon Prime had a 218% increase in operating income. And keep in mind, this is after giving away free groceries during the pandemic. This has led to a lot of speculation about Amazon splitting off AWS and Prime into separate companies. But considering the fact that they still report Prime's income under AWS, it seems like they're still treating Prime as an experiment. Their goal isn't necessarily to make money with Prime. It's more so that they want to learn how to monetize the massive amount of data they're recollecting. Speaking of data, Amazon has a huge advantage over everyone else in this regard. They collect data from nearly every online transaction in the world. And with the introduction of Alexa, they're starting to collect data from your home. This allows them to predict trends and cater their offerings to what consumers want. For example, if they notice that people are buying a lot of baby products, they can start recommending baby products to shoppers. So the more you use Amazon, the more money they make. Another way Amazon leverages their data is by developing their own devices. By selling devices like Alexa and the Kindle, Amazon is able to collect data directly from users and provide a better experience. In fact, the entire point of Alexa is to collect data and make recommendations. It's basically the same thing as a personal shopper, except it's a robot. This is one of the ways Amazon is building out their own ecosystem. Just like Apple, they're trying to get people to lock into their own devices and services. But unlike Apple, Amazon is taking a more open approach. They're allowing other companies to integrate Alexa and the Kindle into their own products. For example, if you buy an Amazon Kindle, you can download the Kindle app on your iPad and iPhone. This is allowing Amazon to grow their user base exponentially. All of this brings us to the final source of income. There's an old saying that goes, "Data is the new gold." Considering how much data Amazon has collected, you would think that they would be worth multiple trillion dollars. But even though Amazon is worth nearly $1.7 trillion, Google is worth $2.3 trillion, and Microsoft is worth $2.5 trillion. These companies are worth more because they generate more profit. Amazon has a profit margin of just 3%, whereas Microsoft has a profit margin of 40%. Amazon's got a long way to go if they want to catch up. With that being said, Amazon has a few things working against them. For one, regulators are starting to crack down on monopolies, and Amazon has a near monopoly in e-commerce. On top of that, Amazon has a ton of labor issues due to the overuse of part-time workers. And lastly, competition is starting to heat up. Walmart and Target are catching up fast, and they're even starting to expand into grocery delivery. Considering all of these risks, investors are starting to favor more stable investments like Microsoft and Google. But if Amazon can navigate through all of these obstacles, they have the potential to become the most profitable company in the world. Would you invest in Amazon? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you are glad that Amazon makes it possible for anyone to start a business. Check out our channels for more video, and please subscribe, like, and share.